Welcome all. It's our next chapter, motion in plane. So it is basically part of kinematics. Today's lecture will be of JEE and NEET level, and it is equally beneficial for MSCET level also. And in kinematics, there are two basic parts in our syllabus. It is 1D or motion in straight line, rectilinear motion, and there is one more motion which is motion in plane. So we have already covered the rectilinear motion in our previous classes. So in today's lecture we will start with motion in plane. So before starting our topic, we should first revise our basics of scalars and vectors that we have already studied in our board classes. So scalars and vectors, we will just revise the concepts. I will not teach this in detail. The very first question comes in our mind is, what is scalar? So scalar is a physical quantity which has magnitude only, or you can define the scalar by only magnitude of the quantity. Okay, so only magnitude of the quantity is required and no other things are required to mention this scalar. For example, if I tell you the time, I have to tell you only the value of the time. Let us say we have lecture of 1 hour, or let us say we have lecture of 60 minutes. So these are only values, these are only magnitudes. Okay, and there are other kind of quantity in physics which is vectors, and these vectors are the quantities which include magnitude as well as directions. Okay, so magnitude is required and direction is also required to specify this quantity. Example is force, displacement. There are many examples. So if we say that there is an object and we have to apply the force on that object, let us say 10 Newton is applied on an object, but this doesn't give you complete information about the force. If I say that this 10 Newton is applied on an object towards north or up or down, so here this towards north part gives us direction. Okay, and in physics we don't write direction in this way. What we write, it is 10 I cap Newton. This I cap gives you direction and it is called unit vector. We already know all these concepts, so I am just revising these concepts. So this is unit vector. So unit vectors basically give us direction of a physical quantity. If it is j cap, then it is unit vector in the direction of y axis. If it is I, it is unit vector in the direction of x axis, and if it is k, then it is unit vector along z axis. So in this way we can specify direction using our Cartesian coordinate system. Let us revise the Cartesian coordinate system. This is x, this is y. Generally, if we have motion in plane, okay, since we are dealing with this, so we need only two coordinates, x and y. But in general, if we want more than two coordinates, then this could be the another way to write the coordinate system, which is xyz. So this is Cartesian coordinate system, this is only xy, and this is xyz. So this is three-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system, and this one is two-dimensional, since we are considering only two coordinates. Fine. So this is what we have studied so far. Let us work a little bit more on vectors. Now, if I want to specify position of a particle, since we are studying kinematics, so we deal with position, displacement, velocity, acceleration, and so on. So we need to specify position of objects, and then from positions we find displacements. So let me generalize everything. Let us consider directly the three-dimensional case. We can anyways consider 2D case, which is there in book. You can go through the 2D case, which we will deal throughout this lesson. Okay, but I'll explain the same thing in three-dimension case. So let us say I have a point particle here in this space. So it will have three coordinates x, y, x1, y1 and z1. These are the coordinates of any particle at any given time. Okay, so if I draw a vector from origin to this particle and I call that vector as r1 vector, then this r1 vector, which is basically r1 vector, which is basically op vector from o to p, is called position vector, is called position vector. Since we are considering this as initial condition, so this will be our initial position vector. Okay, and from these x, y, z coordinates, we can write this r1 vector as x1 I cap plus y1 j cap plus z1 k cap. So we can write this position vector in xyz format or in Cartesian component format. Suppose this particle after some time moves like this and reaches, after some time it reaches here. Let us draw a simple diagram. Let us say it moves like this and reaches this point, which is q point. Okay, same particle moves from p to q after it takes some time to move from p to q through this path. Then let us say this is the position vector of point q. So this will be r2 vector. So we can say that r2 vector is final position given by oq vector, and it will be, let us say coordinates are x2, y2 and z2. So we can write this as x2 I cap plus y2 j cap plus z2 k cap. Okay, and from this, can we define the displacement? So displacement vector, displacement is basically a vector. So we can write displacement vector delta r bar as change in the position. So to find change in position, basically the displacement will be this vector. Okay, let me change the path a little bit. Okay, so this is initial position, this is final position, so this will be displacement. And we know the triangle law of vector. What is triangle law of vector? This vector, let me write full name, op vector plus pq vector plus pq vector. Displacement from o to p and from p to q is same as displacement from o to q. So op vector plus pq vector is oq vector. This is triangle law of vectors. We have already studied this in theory classes. So this is oq vector. And if I write the names, op vector is r1 bar, pq vector is our displacement vector. So let us call displacement vector as delta r bar, equal to oq vector is r2 bar. Then we can write displacement vector delta r bar as r2 vector minus r1 vector. So this delta r bar is r2 vector minus r1 vector, and you can directly remember this formula. This is general formula. It is applicable in 1D, 2D and 3D case. So if object is moving in space, still you can use the same formula. Okay, now let us reduce this formula to 1D and 2D case. So we will be dealing with this 2D case, so I will reduce this in 2D case. Since this r1 and r2 are position vectors given by this, if the same situation is in plane, then there is no z coordinate. So let me simplify the diagram in this way. Okay, we have y axis here, x axis here, this is p, this will be q, this will be r1 vector, this will be r2 vector, and this will be r2 vector minus r1 vector. If you look at the coordinates, this will be x1 comma y1, there is no z1, and x2 comma y2. So we can write this r2 vector as x1i plus y1j, and we can write r2 vector as x2i plus y2j in the same way. And if I so what we are doing in planar case, in motion in plane case, we are not considering this part. Since object is in plane, so there is no z component or no z part of the motion. So if we forget this, this will be r1 vector and this will be r2 vector. And if I, for motion in plane, if I consider motion in plane surface, like if the object is moving on the surface of this board, in that case this displacement vector is again same r2 vector minus r1 vector, but this r2 and r1 are different. They don't contain this z1 and z2, and if I subtract them, this will be x2 minus x1 I cap plus y2 minus y1 j cap, and if it is 3D case, then that will be z2 minus z1 k cap term also present in this equation. But since we will restrict our study to 2D case as far as our syllabus is concerned, so this will be equation for displacement. If you look at this equation, you will come to know that if this delta r is also vector, so we can write delta xi plus delta yj. Since r is also in plane, so we can write this as delta xi, displacement xi, displacement in yj, equal to x2 minus x1 I plus y2 minus y1 j. So we can simply write this delta x as x2 minus x1 and delta y as y2 minus y1. So what is conclusion from this equation? We can split any motion which is in 2D or 3D in individual motions in either x or y, or if it is 3D case, then it will be in z. So simply displacement in x or displacement x component of the displacement will be equal to displacement in x itself, and y component of displacement will be displacement in y coordinate itself. So this is a very interesting result, and from this we can derive velocities and everything. Okay, so if we deal with the velocity, what will be the formula for that? See here, what we have is displacement equal to r2 vector minus r1 vector, and if you want to write this in component forms, then it will be delta x displacement, x part of the displacement will be x2 minus x1. You can also give coordinates here, but since we are considering component, so we will not write vector in this part. Delta y will be y2 minus y1, and in the same way delta z will be z2 minus z1, but we will not write that z part. Okay, now what about velocities? We know that velocity is displacement upon time, so we can write it as delta r upon delta t. Remember that this is average, since we are considering significant amount of time, and that's why the displacement is significant. Okay, and if you remember the diagram, this was p, this was q, and this was the displacement, while the path was like this, something like this. Path was something different. Okay, so this is the displacement. If we reduce this interval and if we consider only this much part, then displacement and the path length will be approximately equal. Okay, so that case is instantaneous case. Now this is velocity delta r by delta t. So from this we can simply write what is our delta r vector. This should be vector. So delta r vector, this is average velocity. Delta r vector will be r2 vector minus r1 vector. So in this way we can write average velocity will be r2 vector delta r vector upon delta t, or r2 vector minus r1 vector upon delta t. Since this r2 vector minus r1 vector was x2 minus x1 I cap plus y2 minus y1 j cap, and we can write this delta t separately, delta t. What is this x2 minus x1? This is delta x, change in x, displacement in x, plus displacement in y, j cap. So what is conclusion from this? This is displacement in x divided by time. So this is velocity in x component, this is x component of velocity, and this is y component of velocity. So again we have arrived at the same result, that any velocity can be split in x and y components. Remember that the same is applicable for instantaneous also. If it is instantaneous velocity, then instead of this what we will write is d. D stands for derivative, and in this case it will still remain the same, and we have to take the limit. So let me skip that part. We will directly write derivative here, and this step is no more required. here we have to write limit delta t tends to 0, and ultimately we will arrive here. So this will be dx by dt. Here we have to write again limit delta t tends to 0, since when we consider derivative we take shortest limit. So delta t tends to 0, this will be dy by dt, and this will be vx I vyj. So we can simply extend the same concept for instantaneous velocity also. So what is extract from all this discussion? We can write velocity as vx component of I cap plus vy component into j cap. So we can split any velocity in plane as velocity in x plus velocity in y, plus if there is velocity in z, so we can simply add that component also. And what will be the magnitude? We know that for any vector, magnitude of that vector will be equal to under root of component square, so vx square plus vy square. And what will be the orientation? So there is formula tan theta equal to y component upon x component. This is for plane. Remember that this is applicable for plane only. Okay, so this is how we deal with the velocities. In the same procedure, we can extend concept to the acceleration. So extending the same concept to the acceleration, I'll write the instantaneous acceleration directly, and it will be ax I cap using analogy plus ay j cap. So we can split acceleration also since it is a vector, and the magnitude of acceleration will be under root of ax square plus ay square. So what is conclusion from all this discussion? Again, angle will be ay by ax. Since this angle is not much important, so we will not write this angle. It is not much useful in our problems, so we will not write that case. So this is what you have to remember, and our delta r is here. So these are the three important things: displacement, velocity and acceleration. So from our discussion, what we can say is we can split any motion which is in xy plane, or simply which is motion in plane. Okay, we can split this motion in plane as separate motions in x and y. So we can just simply add motions. Again, the addition will be vector addition in x separately and motion in y separately. We can treat them separately, and from that we can find all the parameters. Okay, so let us okay, there is one more point left. We know that acceleration can be either constant and it can be variable, or simply not constant. So there are two cases. One is constant acceleration case, where we can use kinematical equations, and there is variable acceleration where we use general equations of motion. Okay, we have already studied this general equation and kinematical equations in our motion in straight line case. Okay, so same equations will be applicable, but let me write these equations first. So since our equation is s equal to ut plus half at square, this was equation when we were dealing with motion in straight line. So in motion in plane, we will write this in vector form, since time is not vector, but acceleration u and displacement are vector form. Okay, in the same way we can write v bar equal to u bar plus a bar t. Remember that this s vector is basically xi plus yj, or you can say this is displacement, so this will be x2 minus x1 I plus y2 minus y1 j. Remember that this s is a vector, so it will have, and it is displacement, so it will have this kind of format, and this u is initial velocity, so this u vector will be ux, x component of velocity, into I cap plus uy j cap. Since this is vector, I am writing it in component form. Okay, and remember we are dealing with only motion in plane, so we will write only x and y, we will not write the z component. Okay, and the acceleration can be written as ax I plus ay j. Remember these are values, but these are I and j are directions. Okay, so this is x component, x component, x component, y, y and y component. And the third equation is v bar square. We have to take mod square. Since it is vector, we have to take mod square. What is v bar mod square? It is basically v bar dot v bar. It is dot product of v with itself. Okay, so remember that mod square, or basically square of any vector, is dot product of vector with itself. Okay, we have studied this in properties of dot product. So v mod square, this will be v square minus u square minus u mod square equal to 2 a bar dot s bar. Here there is dot product because since this is square of vector, this is square of vector, these are scalar quantities. Okay, when you take mod and then square it, when you take mod and then square it, basically this is dot product and this is scalar quantity. When you take dot product of a vector, this is scalar, so scalar minus scalar should be scalar, and that's why there is a dot product here. Okay, so this is all about equations. You can remember these equations. Okay, if I want to write this in component form, so I can write this in this way. So if I take x component, so this will be x2 minus x1 equal to uxt plus half ax t square. We will only write the x component. In the same way, y2 minus y1 can be written as uyt plus half ay t square. In this way, we can also write the component of this and this equation also. Okay, so this is what we can do with motion in plane. We can split the motion in two different separate: motion in straight line, motion in horizontal line, motion in vertical line. So this is the story behind all our discussion. Now we first deal with some examples where the acceleration is constant. So let us first take some examples. Position vector of a particle is expressed as position vector of a particle is r bar equal to 4t square I plus 2tj, where t is in seconds. Find the velocity of particle. Find velocity at t equal to 3. So there are two methods to solve this question. One method is to separate x component and y component and then combine it at the end. And the second method is direct vector method. So I'll show you how to deal with this question in vector method. Okay, so it is very easy to solve this in scalar method, but it is lengthy. So we'll deal with vector method here. Since we have displacement, we know that velocity is rate of change of displacement. Fine. So we will take the derivative of this. V bar equal to d by dt of, what is our r bar? This is r bar 4t square I cap plus 2t j cap. This is our r vector. Now what we will do? We will separate the derivative. Since we know that derivative can be separated over plus sign. D by dt of 4t square. Since this I cap is a unit vector, it is constant, take it out. Plus, since j cap is again unit vector, take it out. D by dt of 2t. Okay, so we have separated the derivative. Now I cap is as it is. Derivative of this 4 is again constant. T square, derivative of t square is 2t plus j cap 2t, derivative, since 2 is constant, derivative of t is 1. So if we simplify this, this will be 8ti plus 2j. This is general expression for velocity, and we have to find velocity at t equal to 3. So what we will do, at t equal to 3, put the value of t equal to 3 in this equation. V equal to 8 into 3, since t is 3, I and plus 2j, and this will be 24i plus 2j. This is velocity. If someone asks you what is the magnitude of this velocity, let me check the answer first. Yes, velocity is 24I plus 2j. Now if someone asks you that what will be the magnitude of this velocity, so what is the speed? So it will be magnitude of this, so under root of 24 square plus 2 square. So this will be, I guess, 576 plus 4. Am I right? I don't know. And this will be root of 580. Okay, so it will be root of 580 and something around 24 point something 0.08 meter per second. You can calculate this. This will be magnitude of velocity v. Okay, now what will be the direction of the resultant velocity? So we know the formula, tan of theta, this will give you direction, theta will give you direction, will be vy upon vx. Y component is 2 by 24, so this will be 1 by 12, so 1 by 12, so theta will be tan inverse of 1 by 12. If you have calculator or logbook, then you can calculate this 1 by 12. We will not do further calculation, this will be our answer. Let us solve one more problem. A position of particle is expressed as 40 square I cap plus 2t j cap, same equation. Find the acceleration of the particle. From the same equation, let us find the acceleration A. Okay, at what time? There is no time given. Let us remove this part. So we have to find acceleration. The very first step will remain, since acceleration is rate of change of velocity, we have to follow the same steps to find the velocity. So these steps will remain same. Now after finding velocity, what we have to find is acceleration. Basically, what is our goal? We have to find acceleration. And how we will do it? Acceleration is rate of change of velocity, so this will be dv by dt. Okay, and since we have velocity, we have derived it from r, position vector, by differentiating it. This is derivative or differentiation. We will do the same procedure once again. So d by dt of, what is expression for velocity? This is the expression for velocity, 8t I plus 2j. Okay, so if we differentiate it, since this is 8 which is constant, time derivative of t is 1, d by dt of t is 1, I cap remains as it is. Since there is no time term, this is constant part, so constant derivative of constant is 0, so this will be 0 j, so basically it is 0. So what is our answer? Ultimate answer, it is 8 I cap. So this will be acceleration. And what is magnitude of acceleration? It will be magnitude of 8 square, so basically it is 8. Okay, since there is no j and any other component, so this will be the magnitude of acceleration. And what will be direction? Direction is along x-axis. How I have written this? Since there is only I component, it means the acceleration is in x direction only. So this is how we deal with examples where acceleration is constant. Let us do one last example and we'll stop here. So the last example is, object has velocity v equal to, question, velocity v is given and it is equal to 2i plus 4j, 2i plus 4j meter per second at time t equal to 0, at t equal to 0. So basically this is initial velocity. It undergoes constant acceleration a equal to I minus 3j cap. Acceleration is I minus 3j cap. This is acceleration of a particle for 4 seconds. This acceleration is for acting for 4 seconds. Now the first part is find the coordinate of object if it is at origin at t equal to 0. First question is find coordinates of the object if it is at origin at t equal to 0. If it is at origin at t equal to 0. This part it is at origin at t equal to 0 specifies that the motion starts from origin. Okay, motion starts from origin, fine, and that's why it is given that it is at t equal to 0, it is at origin, fine. So we want to find coordinates, so simply we want to find equation for x and equation for y. There will be equation for x and y. Let us work out this. See, this is velocity at t equal to 0, so we will replace this symbol by u, so that we will follow our regular convention. Since in our convention we write u as initial velocity, which is velocity at t equal to 0, so I have replaced the name v by u. Okay, see, the particle starts at origin, so it means r0 initial position will be 0i plus 0j. Okay, let us say final position will be xi plus yj, and this x and y are coordinates which we have to find at some time. It is given that t equal to 4 second, so let us say at t equal to 4 second. Okay, so how can we find this? There are two methods. One is separating the motion in x and y, and the other is use the vector method itself. Okay, so what we will do here, we will find out this separately. Okay, we can do that part also. So what is equation for x component? X2 minus x1 will be, this is s equal to ut plus half at square. This is our equation. Okay, so x2 minus x1 will be s. U, instead of u we will write uxt plus half axt square. So this is our kinematical equation. Since x2 and x1, x2 is final position is our x, initial position is 0, equal to ux, initial x component of velocity is 2, time is 4, plus half x component of acceleration is 1, and time is again 4, and its square. So what we get is x equal to, so this will be 8, 16. So x component will be, x coordinate will be 16 after 4 seconds. Okay, now let us find the y component in the same procedure, in the same way. So y2 minus y1 will be uyt plus half ayt square. So we have split the motion in x and y. So this is the easiest method to work out with this. Otherwise the equations will be so much large that you may encounter errors. Okay, so what is final position? Final position was y. What is initial position? It starts at origin, initial position was 0. Uy, y component of velocity is 4, time is 4 second, plus half y component of acceleration is minus 3. Remember to take this minus sign, and time is 4 and its square. So this will be 16 minus 3 by 2 into 16. So this will be 16 minus, this will be minus 8. So the y coordinate is minus 8 after 4 seconds. So this is answer of the first question. Okay, now let us solve one more question in this same situation. Find the magnitude of its velocity at the end of 4 seconds. We'll find magnitude of velocity at the end of 4 seconds. So let me write velocity v vector as vxi plus vyj, and what we have to find here in the second part, in the b part, find magnitude of velocity, means v bar mod at t equal to 4 seconds. We have to find velocity at the end of 4 seconds. So this is expression for velocity. What is initial velocity? This is initial velocity 2i plus 4j, we have the relation v equal to u plus at. So splitting the motion in x and y, this will be vx equal to ux plus axt, and vy equal to uy plus ayt. Since we have time, we have used this equation of time. Vx, what is Vx? We have to find this Vx. What is Ux? Ux is this 2. What is Ax? This is 1. And what is the time? Time is 4 seconds. So 4 plus 2 is 6. This is 6. Okay. Let us find Vy. Uy is 4. Ay is minus 3. So put minus sign here. And time is 4 seconds. So this will be 4 minus 12 minus 8. And this is Vx and Vy. What we want is, so what is our final vector? Velocity vector will be 6i minus 8j, and we want magnitude of this velocity vector. So it is simply under root of this component square, 6 square plus minus 8 square, and this will be under root of 36 plus this will be 64, and I guess it is 100. So answer will be 10 meter per second. Answer will be 10 meter per second. And if you want to find the direction, it will be y component minus 8 upon 6. That will be theta will be tan inverse of minus 8 by 6, and it is something around 53 degree or something. Okay. So this is the end of our today's lecture. In our next class, we will use all these basics to study projectile motion, and there is one more motion which is circular motion. So we will deal more with projectile motion. There are a lot of questions asked in on the basis of projectile motion. Okay, so that's it for today.